Hey everyone, I'm Jaden,
And I'm Noah.
and we are the Super Gamer Bros, and this is the Super Gamer Bros podcast. We're just a couple of brothers who love playing games and love talking about games, so that's what we do. So today, Noah, we're talking about Saints Row 2.
Yay.
You said you were excited. I thought
Okay.
you'd have more to say.
I am excited because Saints Row 2, it really was specifically to us, very personally, it was our first GTA technically,
Nope, that's very
right?
true. Yeah.
As I was gonna say, we did play True Crime Streets of LA very briefly. It was very minimal. Saints Row we did play all the way through though. And it does have everything that Grand Theft Auto and Rockstar has to offer and more. I always felt, it's even in Saints Row 2, I felt it was more whimsical than Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, no, I think that's very true. Yeah.
hmm Um, but what I loved about Saints Row 2 particularly was the story and the car customization.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it just the customization in general we really got into.
That's true. Like there's also like combat customization. It's pretty deep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we definitely did not play GTA, and at this time, GTA 4 was the most recent GTA that had been released, and we just didn't care about it. Like, I know we had a friend that brought it over once, and same friend that actually brought over Saints Row 2, but when he brought over GTA 4, it was like the Game of the Year edition that came with all the DLC and stuff. And I remember, on the PS3, we put the game in, and the game had to download while loading the game, that's kind of how it worked on PS3 for some reason. You remember what I'm talking about?
Um,
Like you would start the game and it would be like an actual game loading screen, but the game would be downloading.
yeah, I guess so. They kind of do
Yeah.
that on PS4, right?
No, it's not really a thing too much anymore. Like if you play a game while it's still downloading, yes, but for the most part, no, it's not really a thing anymore. I know, that's one because I don't even think that was a thing too much on Xbox. That's a thing that I feel like a lot of people made fun of PS3 about, especially when it was newer. At least that's always been my opinion on it. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but yeah, he brought over GTA 4, and when it was in that kind of screen of the game's downloading, it froze at like 80% or something like that. Literally, I think he stayed the night, and we thought just, oh, it's a big game, it just takes a while. And I think we literally kept our PlayStation on all night waiting for it to download, and it never got past 80%. So then that just kind of left a sour taste in our mouths for GTA, and we wanted nothing to do with GTA.
I have no memory of that at all. I don't have any personal issues with GTA. I just didn't play any until GTA 5.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I remember that. But anyway, then he had brought over Saints Row 2, and he was like, oh, it's pretty much like GTA. And we played that, and I mean, I would easily say one of my favorite games of all time.
Absolutely 100%. And that being said, like I have played all the sequels, but I have not played Saints Row 1, and I know that a lot of fans have not never played Saints Row 1.
Yeah, neither have I. I actually did like a year ago, maybe watch all the cutscenes to the first game just because I wanted that story. Because I think it was an Xbox exclusive, like original Xbox exclusive.
That would make sense. And I know that I have also seen all the cutscenes.
Yeah, like it definitely, I don't know if it was an Xbox exclusive, but it was that generation. Like it would have been a PS2 game, not a PS3 game, but I think it was just an Xbox exclusive. And I did watch all the cutscenes just because I wanted, yeah, just one of the little story aspects of it. But we have no experience playing with that game. And as far as I'm aware, the first Saints Row and even the second to a lesser extent, but still a very large extent, are basically just GTA clones. The sandbox, you're in a city, taking control, doing your going through your story. But at any point in time, you can free roam and just do whatever you want, terrorize the citizens, do activities, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I also agree with what you said. Like even Saints Row 2 was definitely, I feel like more on the whimsical side of things. Like GTA to me has always been about realism. Obviously, yeah, as realism as you can get in a game where you're just a criminal running around shooting people at random and running from the cops. But it's always been to me like the more realistic one. And Saints Row 2, while still being very realistic, is definitely a lot more comedic side of things with some of the weapons and vehicles you could get, as well as some of like hidden rooms and stuff that you could find.
True. A lot of the dialogue too.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the story in and of itself, it does not take itself that seriously.
no, it doesn't. And I think that's what I like about it. Before it went completely off the rails in Saints Row 3.
And then to my favorite place in Saints Row 4.
Yeah, no,
We'll get there.
we'll get there. So anyway, let's just jump into it. We'll talk about the setting. So in Saints Row 2, players navigate the open world fictional city of Stillwater. At the end of the first game, this is kind of important to the story. You are on a yacht about to be killed by this like corrupt businessman running for mayor, or just a corrupt mayor. And then the yacht you're on just explodes. And this game takes place 5 years later, after the player has awoken from a 5-year coma in prison. So the city has changed a lot in 5 years. The city itself, it consists of 45 neighborhoods that are divided between 20 districts. It is roughly 1.5 times larger than the original version of Stillwater in the first Saints Row game. And it features new districts such as the prison, a nuclear power plant, the airport is bigger, and stuff like that. And I do like that the map being bigger is actually explained in the story. In the story, the in-game corporation known as Ultor spent more than $300 million redeveloping the city, funding the police force, and turning the quote once crime-ridden third-tier city into a quote urban utopia. The Saints Row district is one of the more notable changes, having been completely redesigned and serving as the location of Ultor's headquarters, a towering skyscraper referred to as the Phillips Building. Many old districts from the original Saints Row have also seen changes. The suburbs district is larger, doubling in size from the first game. And there's the museum district, which features an ancient Greek museum exhibit complete with models of the Acropolis of Athens and the Theater of Dionysus. Kind of keeping with that open world vibe, from the beginning of the game, the entire map is fully visible, fully explorable. However, some shops and activities will simply be displayed as a question mark until the player discovers them, which is kind of that's a typical thing in any open world game.
I like it that way.
Yeah, yeah. So by completing missions and wiping out enemy strongholds, the player gains control of the various neighborhoods. And kind of a cool thing I just thought when I was researching this game, something that I've never really thought to put a number to, but there are over 130 interiors in the city, and hidden events can be triggered by some, including over 90 shops that can be purchased when the player controls that associated territory. Um, so yeah, it's weird. Like I never put into thought, if you think about a game like this or a game like GTA, like, well, how many interiors are there? How many buildings can you actually go into and see kind of these interiors of these structures?
Right. It's really more about driving and running around outside and shooting, not really about being inside.
Yeah, but I do think it's cool thinking like, it's something that, like when I read that number, I thought like, oh man, like you think about how much design goes into games like this, and I never thought like all the design thoughts that go into like an interior of a store or like the interior of the police department that you can go into.
Right. Well, what I read that paragraph as is Saints Row 2 really excels in its diversity in the districts. They're just each so unique, and when you move from one district to another, the change is immediately evident, from Chinatown to the museum district.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It's a very, very cool like you said, diverse city, very cool area. Noah, do you want to start with the story?
So it's like you said, the story takes place 5 years after the explosion on Richard Hughes's yacht. The player, who is the sole survivor, awakens from a coma in the infirmary of Stillwater's maximum security prison. They undergo extensive plastic surgery, which is like the game's story reason for your customized character. That's a big feature of the Saints Row games, is you can customize your character to appear however you want them to appear.
Yeah, it's like I love kind of going along with like how the fact that you're in the same city but it's bigger, how they very much like actually did put story reasons to why it is larger, like why you could potentially look different as well. You know, in both like in terms of maybe you look different from the first game, or even if you didn't play the first game, it's like nobody's questioning, like all these people that knew you aren't necessarily questioning why you look different and stuff. It's like, oh, this happened. Yeah, it's understandable. Really cool thing that's like they didn't have to explain, but they did, and I appreciate that.
That is a really cool thing for sure, but the Saints Row games still have that thing where, that thing that every game that has a customizable protagonist has, where all the dialogue of every other character in the game is written so that it's genderless, it's non-direct, there's no, you know what I mean? Like, it's all really open dialogue.
Yeah, like people typically don't refer to you in pronouns. They always call you by your nickname.
Right, exactly. After you wake up, they escape, or after, the player wakes up, they escape to Stillwater with the help of Carlos Mendoza, the brother of a former Third Street Saints member. He explains that the gang has since disbanded. Most members were arrested by Troy Bradshaw, an undercover cop who had infiltrated the gang as a lieutenant and has since become chief of police, using his influence to protect the imprisoned Saints. In the gang's absence, their former base of operations, the Saints Row District, has been redeveloped into a pristine commercial and residential area by Alter Corporation, who have further plans for Stillwater. The player works to rebuild the Saints by rescuing their former lieutenant, Johnny Gat, from his trial. So, anybody who knows Saints Row knows Johnny Gat either by face or by name. He has long been the player's best friend.
Yeah, he's like the face of the franchise, you could say.
He really is. I mean, he had his own spin-off DLC.
Yeah, yeah, he did.
Um, Anywho, so the player continues to recruit new members, including Carlos and Gat's acquaintances Pierce Washington and Shondi, both of whom become long-standing Saints Row characters. Uh, they also both are promoted to lieutenants very quickly. The Saints then set up a new headquarters in a hotel destroyed by an earthquake. Eventually, the player steps up as the Saints' new leader, earning the moniker of the Boss. And the Boss declares war on the new gangs that have taken over the city during their absence. And the the Boss assigns each lieutenant a district to in a gang to research. Um, the different gangs in the city consist of the Ronin, which is a Japanese samurai style gang, the Sons of Samedi, a Haitian voodoo gang, um, the Brotherhood, they're an outlaw gang who conduct gun and running operations. The Ronin are led by Shogo Akuji and his second in command, Junichi, with Shogo's father, Kazuo, leading international operations. Um, the Ronin, I think, are my personal favorite gang in this game. Their color is yellow.
Yeah, each gang has a very prominent color scheme, which is also something I really like about Saints Row.
That's true. They also have like distinct vehicles and weapons. The Ronin use samurai swords, and they'll be on Tron-looking motorcycles as well.
Yep. Yeah, the Sons of Samdi are led by a man simply known as the General and his right-hand man, Mr. Sunshine. Also, one of Shondi's exes, a DJ veteran child, is a high-ranking lieutenant in the gang. Anyway, so then the Brotherhood, who actually the Brotherhood is my favorite gang, led by Marrow, who is this giant of a man covered in like tribal tattoos, who also like is a monster truck rally driver. his girlfriend Jessica, and the vocalist for a band known as the Feed Dogs, just named Matt. Yeah, and they kind of like they're all like they're red. The Sons of Samdi are green. The Brotherhood red. They have like big trucks is their thing. They all got big trucks.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sons of Samdi have like lowriders, right?
yeah. They're yeah. Uh, Here, but you talk about the Ronin story.
So the Ronin attempt to ambush the boss and Gat at the home of Gat's girlfriend, Aisha, killing her when she tries to warn them and wounding Gat. He was literally impaled with a samurai sword. After saving Gat from an attempt on his life while hospitalized, the boss works with him to eliminate Shogo and Kazuo as revenge.
Yeah, which pretty serious revenge. They bury Shogo alive.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You're not you're not a good guy in Saints Row.
Oh no, not in the slightest. You are
Never at any point do you feel like you're a good person.
no,
You're
you are.
always doing terribly evil
Oh
things.
yeah, you are definitely the baddest. Yeah, but so as well, the Brotherhood, uh, annoyed with the boss. What he does is he actually, and kind of they're going back and forth at each other. He ends up getting this like burning chemical into Marrow's tattoo ink, which severely burns half of his face. Uh, so in revenge, the Brotherhood capture and torture Carlos, hooking him to the back of a truck and just dragging him along streets. Eventually, the boss himself has to kill Carlos as an act of mercy. Uh, so then the boss steals their latest weapon shipment and tricks Marrow into actually murdering his girlfriend Jessica, which is insane.
Yeah, he puts her in the trunk and then has Marrow demolish her with his monster truck.
Oh yeah. Uh, so yeah, the Saints eventually attack the Brotherhood's headquarters to finish them off, and although Marrow manages to escape, he is later killed by the boss in a demolition derby.
Wow.
And then meanwhile, because this is also like you can kind of do these missions in any order you want, so you can kind of like do one gang at a time. You can do them all at the same time. It's very kind of open with how you do the story. But the Sons of Samdi take revenge on the Saints for stealing their drugs by kidnapping Shandi, who is then rescued by the boss. They later attack their hideout. The Sons of Samdi attack the Saints' hideout and drug the boss to prevent the Saints from interfering any further, but they are nonetheless thwarted and eventually eliminated when the boss kills Mr. Sunshine and the General.
Okay. So, with Stillwater back under their control, the Saints find themselves targeted by Ulter's power-hungry CEO, Dane Vogel. He seeks to redevelop various parts of the city and orders a hit on the Saints as revenge for eliminating the other gangs. He had been using the other gangs for his means, basically. After fending off attacks by Ulster's private security forces, the Saints retaliate by destroying one of the company's labs and killing its board of directors. Taking advantage of this to assume full control of Ulster, Vogel decides to personally deal with the Saints, but before he can do so, he finds himself targeted by them at a press conference. Escaping back to the Ulster building, Vogel is pursued by the boss, who fights their way to Vogel's office and kills him. Afterward, the Saints return to ruling over Stillwater undisputed.
Yep, and that's the end of the game, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I love about Saints Row. It's like that whole dramatization of gangs, but it's like all you know fiction, ridiculous to a level that's insane.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah,
what does Saints Row 4 have to do about gangs?
yeah. I get what you're saying. So then as well, I guess story not fully done. This is something you can do. It's something you can do at any point, but I know we did it last, and anytime I replay through this game, I always do this last because I feel like it works better as like an epilogue. But the boss can listen to wiretap conversations between Troy and the Saints leader Julius Little from the first game at the police station, which reveal that Troy asked Julius to disband the gang and talk with the boss. Instead, Julius attempted to kill the boss by destroying the yacht before retiring. Uh, When going to a meeting with former Saints Lieutenant Dex Jackson, who left the game to work for Ultor, to discuss their findings, the boss finds Julius instead, and the two realize that Dex has lured them into a trap to be killed. After surviving an attack by Ultor's security forces, the boss and Julius argue over what the Saints have become and why Julius tried to kill the boss before the boss executes Julius in revenge.
Had to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely something like a really cool extra thing they added in there.
Yeah, that is really cool. I appreciated that, even though I didn't play the first game or have that personal connection with the Saints beginning.
Yeah.
Even though Saints Row 2 still felt like you were
Yeah.
creating the Saints, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because you pretty much were. Like, because it's something like, it's really funny because, Julius is voiced by Keith David, who
Here, here.
then actually shows up in Saints Row 4 as himself. And it's really funny because people keep comparing him to Julius. Like, oh, you sound like Julius, and he hates being compared to Julius. And it's something that even like playing through Saints Row 4, I didn't really get. And it wasn't even until I went back and watched the cutscenes from the first Saints Row that I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
That is funny.
Yeah, and it's like, I think, I mean, even like playing through Saints Row 2, doing that, having not played the first, it's still like, okay, this guy obviously betrayed you and you're getting revenge. But it certainly is a lot more powerful once you have actually played through the first game and, or like, I guess in my case, watch the first game and kind of know what's going on.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and that's the story of the game.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean, I
it's
think it's the best story of any of the Saints Rows.
I have to absolutely agree. I like it's certainly like I probably like back when we had Saints Row 2, I probably like played through that same story like at least like 3 4 times, just going through it over and over again, playing the game because like the missions were fun and I thought the story was really good.
I replayed it a few times as well.
But as always, story is only half the game. So no, why don't you talk about the combat?
So the combat systems mostly remain unchanged from Saints Row 1, but many of the basics have been updated. So you have melee combat and range combat. While engaging in melee combat, the player will perform combos and change up attacks and can perform finishing moves if 3 consecutive hits are dealt. You can also customize your melee style and use different forms of fighting, which I appreciated. I liked being able to change the types of attacks I was using to see all the executions. So obviously the other aspect is with the gun equipped, the player can perform a groin attack. It's pretty much like you have a pistol whip and the animation is a groin attack, but that's the only melee you have when you're holding a weapon. You have like one melee animation. With every weapon you can zoom, although it is third person.
Yeah, it's very much like yeah, with like the groin attack. Like it's very much for anyone who's played Saints Row 3 and 4, something that they really like are those groin shots.
Yeah, they do, but it's just like it's one input. It's just a melee
Oh
button.
yeah.
It does X amount of damage. That's it.
Oh yeah, no, I agree, but it's still like, yeah, they just really love those groin shots, man.
100%. They love just those cinematic, ridiculous attacks. Something I do like about Saints Row is that the player always has the option of using enemies or friends or random civilians as human shields, and you can also use makeshift weapons from the environment like fire hydrants and cement blocks and stuff like that. Basically, anything that's around you can interact with, and that just makes the world feel really immersive. Should the player commit illegal activities or incite rival gang members, they will provoke potentially fatal attention from authoritative figures or rival gangs. The notoriety bar is a visual representation of the proactivity of the opposing figure's response, and continual inciting of these groups will bring about a more powerful response. That's like SWAT teams from the police. What I like about Saints Row, it's like GTA, it does have your wanted level with the police, but you also have kind of like a wanted level with your rival gang members. And the more of those specific gang members that you target and take out, the stronger vehicles and parties they will send after. That's something I appreciate in Saints Row.
Yeah, and like each gang also, has like their own separate like meter as well. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, exactly. There's
yeah,
a
like the
green one, a
Brotherhood
yellow
is
one, and a
different.
red one.
Yeah, like the Brotherhood's different from the Sons and different from the Ronin. Yeah,
Right. So basically, how you get away from it is you either kill anybody chasing you or hide, and it only ends when you are killed or escape. Um, if you hide long enough, the bars just cool down, and that just gets rid of your wanted level.
yeah. I mean,
Another thing you can do that's unique to Saints Row is seeking out a drive-through confessional, which will clear your notoriety for a small fee. And that does sound funny, but I actually use those a lot.
because when you die, you do lose a small amount of, you do lose some money, and you
I'm
respawn at
pretty sure
like
it's not small. It's
it's a,
like pretty sizable.
yeah, you lose a decent chunk of money, and it uh and like you respawn at like a hospital or a police station, whatever. But yeah, it's definitely like, it seems dumb, but it's certainly faster and cheaper than hiding or dying.
Right. So, the game contains over 40 different weapons, many of which have been recycled from the first Saints Row. The game allows the player to utilize new weapon types, examples of which include satchel charges, laser guided rocket launchers, chainsaws, basically a bunch of unique weapons like that are
Yeah,
the
yeah.
only additions.
My favorite was the Pimp Cane shotgun.
I did love the Pimp Cage
Yeah, because you
shotgun.
actually walked using it as a cane, and then you just like flip it up, and boom, it was the most powerful shotgun in the game.
The player has the ability to dual wield handguns and submachine guns, which is pretty much, I think, the best way to use handguns and submachine guns, in my opinion. Weaponry can be purchased by the player from specific weapon stores, or unlocked throughout story or in-game progress.
Yeah. So then you have a big map like this, you need to get around. So players can drive vehicles that you can either steal, you can buy. Some you just unlock through story, kind of like the guns. You just unlock them through story progression, and then they're just in your garage, or in case of a gun, just in your like cribs. Uh, so yeah. So you have obviously your cars and motorcycle stuff. You also get boats and other watercraft. You get helicopters. You get planes. And yeah, I mean there's a very large number of vehicles in this game. Like I know when we played, we would always steal cars, customize them, take them to our garage. But we actually, I remember, like ran out of room in our garage because we wanted to have like, we were trying to get like every single vehicle in the game, and we had to like eventually like, yeah, make space by like, okay, we'll get rid of this lame car so we can fit another cool car, stuff like that.
The
Yeah,
vehicles are, like I said, to me, they are the second best part of the game. There's just a huge amount of vehicles, and you can own a ridiculous amount of them, and a lot of them can be customized. Even some of the special vehicles, like the ambulances, that can't normally be customized in these sort of games.
yeah. Like I remember you can get like one of those like big kind of SWAT tanks. I forget what it's called like a bear or something like that, and you can get that and make it purple. You could also get like like farming equipment kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about? Like
The
I can't
tractor,
remember. Oh, it was like a tractor, but like on the front it had like a bunch of spikes and stuff. It's kind of like I
you're
can't remember what it
showing
was
our
called.
you're showing that we don't know anything about farming, even though we're Midwestern.
Yes, it's a tractor. But yeah, yeah, just it's just a very large number of vehicles, and like you said, vehicles that normally in a game like this you can't customize. Everything is customizable in Saints Row 2, pretty much. So also when you're on using like land or sea vehicles, you can actually activate a cruise control, so you don't have to control your speed at all. You just drive. Uh,
I have not played many games that have a cruise control function.
no, the only other one I can think of that did was Mafia 2 had cruise control. That's the only other one that pops in my head.
That's crazy. Wait, you have Mafia?
I don't own it, but we like I used to. We played it.
Oh, okay.
It was years ago, but I definitely remember that.
I don't remember playing it.
Like I don't know why, but so yeah, you can also hail taxis and pay a fee to quickly navigate the city. And then like we said, take vehicles to mechanics. You can apply paint schemes, body mods, hydraulics, nitrous oxide, all the good stuff you want in your driving games. Like I think my favorite is you can get wheel spikes. You can puncture the wheels of other people on the road.
That's my favorite too because every single vehicle I had, from my ambulance to my, uh, you know, sports car, had spikes and was purple and gold.
Oh yeah, no, it was a necessity, those spikes. But yeah, speaking
And
of
they
that,
worked. They would pop tires.
oh yeah, yeah, every time. It was awesome. Um so as well, uh kind of going along with the customizing cars, just customization is a very big part of any Saints Row game, which is something to me that definitely looking at like Saints Row 2 made it stand apart from GTA because like there wasn't I just didn't feel like there was as much cool customization in GTA. But initially unlike GTA, players actually create their own character through a system that allows them to modify the gender, the ethnicity, the fitness, the voice, the face, the hairstyle, pretty much everything about this character. And one thing I love that this game did that not a lot of games with customized character voices do is the character actually talks a lot. So, like, you actually pick that voice, you're going to be hearing that voice say a lot of stuff throughout your time playing this game.
I do appreciate that. I prefer this over silent protagonists.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't like silent protagonists generally in games, but they especially annoy me in a game where it has you pick a voice because I'm like, well, like you hire these people to make grunts and noises and stuff, have them say actual things. Uh, but yeah, so players can purchase clothes, tattoos, and piercings, and then they can like set outfits. Can be bought or created and saved to the player's wardrobe. You have safe houses in this game known as cribs, where you can withdraw earnings, change outfits, replay missions, save the games. Cribs can be customized by applying themes and purchasing objects like TVs and pool tables. Boats and planes can be stored at purchase docks and hangars. And players can select the outfits, vehicles, gestures, graffiti styles used by members of the Third Street Saints themselves, as well as this own player. Their walking and fighting style can be customized, and their personality traits can be assigned too to make them like more aggressive, more polite, things like that. Like it's all about customization, and that was one of the things that I really loved about Saints Row 2.
It's definitely what made it stand apart.
Yeah. No, do you want to talk about the respect system?
Alrighty. So the respect system is a scoring system where the player earns respect points to unlock missions and progress through the story. Unlock missions to progress through the storyline. I'm pretty sure it's like a requirement
Yeah,
to
yeah,
have a
it's a
certain
requirement.
respect. But the player can take part in storyline and stronghold missions only after filling up at least one bar of respect. And respect points are removed when the player starts a mission. The style rank is a modifier of how much respect a player can earn. This is increased by purchasing items for the player character. Respect points can be earned in two ways: by progressing through side missions, either activities or
Diversions.
yeah, diversions.
Now, I do want to say real quick about the respect system is I like the idea because it's something that kind of makes you do these other side activities. Like that's something that like GTA doesn't have because like GTA 5 specifically, when talking about how there's like so many side activities, and for a decent amount of them, just playing through the story, you will encounter them once or twice where you just have to do them. Like it'll be like an
Yeah,
actual
that's
story
true.
mission, but then like never again you have to. So it's like stuff like I mean, like there's so much stuff in GTA 5. Like you can play darts, you can golf, you can purchase a submarine and go look for stuff underwater. You can purchase like an air hangar and deliver drugs, like these little side activities that like I only know about because I researched GTA 5. Like I never did any of those when playing the game because it's like you don't have to. So it's I just never did.
Yeah, I get that, and I like when there's some sort of system that ties in. I like when the side activities tie into the main game somehow.
Yeah,
I
I
was
get what you're
thinking
saying.
about, I recently played Immortals Phoenix Rising, and a lot of the side activities are like how you increase your stamina and your health.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, that's really good
Yeah.
motivation to do these side activities.
Yeah, no, I agree. Side activities definitely are better, like giving you like a reason to do it. And I think Saints Row I think is the epitome of that with the activities and diversions, which there are a lot of them. Try to go through this rather quickly because there are a lot of activities and diversions. I'm sure you'll remember some. There are some that you might not. Okay, so basically, activities. Each one has 6 levels that you get through. It's just like harder and harder, but you get more rewards and stuff. Are basically, like you said, they're like side missions, so they're actually a little more like involved than diversions are, I guess. Like diversions, usually you just do all free roaming, but activities like you have to go to the mission, start the mission, and do the activity kind of thing. But there are activities such as Chop Shop, where you have to just deliver a vehicle to a location. Crowd Control, where you just have to protect celebrities from crazed fans. Demolition Derby. Drug Trafficking, protect a drug dealer using supplied weapons. Escort, you're just a vehicle escort. Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club.
That's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next.
Fuzz, where you take down criminals for a reality TV show, kind of like it's like a parody of Cops. Then there's Hitman, just take out people. Insurance fraud, I feel like one of the more famous ones that people might recognize
It
from later.
continued on. It's one of the ones that continued on.
Yeah. Where basically you just have to take damage and you earn money based on the amount of damage taken by traffic collisions. You just try to have to rack up as much money as you can. There's Mayhem, also another one that kind of continues on, where you just have to destroy property, just blow up objects, just cause as much damage as you can. Racing, Septic Avenger, where you destroy property as a vehicle passenger and you bring down property values with a roof-mounted septic spray weapon on like a sewer truck.
Exactly. They're all ridiculously crazy.
There's
just a lot of them.
There is Snatch, where you recruit hoes from rival pimps. And then there's Trailblazing, which is a different version of racing, where you're racing on a vehicle that is on fire, and you earn bonus time by damaging vehicles and objects and people with that fire. A lot of different activities.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have anything to say about any of them? Any that you particularly enjoyed? All right. And then for the diversions, there are 4 types of diversions: collection, jobs, stunts, and mini games. So basically, collection is just collectibles. There's like hidden CDs around Stillwater. There are hidden secret areas in the game, which if you watch an Easter egg video on Saints Row, many of them will have these, like a lot of these secret areas. I don't count them as Easter eggs because they're technically part of the game as a collectible, but
yeah, no, Easter eggs are supposed to be off the record.
And then there's stunt jumps, which are stunt jumps. Barnstorming, which is like it's kind of the same as like the under bridge from GTA 5, just to fly under stuff. And then tagging, which is 50 tags around the city where you have to cover a rival gang's tag with the 3rd Street Saints tag.
Always fun.
Always fun. And then there are jobs, which these are pretty funny. If you enter an ambulance, then you actually drive to ambulances and revive citizens using like shock paddles or chest compressions. If you enter a fire truck, then you go to buildings, enter the buildings, extinguish fires with a fire extinguisher. Enter a taxi, then you are a taxi driver for people. Enter a tow truck, then you pick up vehicles and tow them to a nearest garage.
Right. It's a really interesting immersive thing that just happens when you get in one of these cars, right?
Yeah, it's really fun. And it's also like it's one of those like more ridiculous aspects to me of like so funny of like you get into an ambulance and then someone calls, like you steal an ambulance, someone calls for help on this ambulance and you're like, oh, I got time, and you just go and do it. Like really, really fun little things.
It's hilarious.
And then all of the stunts are just kind of things that you do, like for example, if you're driving on the wrong side of the road, or like near misses with cars, wheelies on bikes, stuff like that. And then there are the mini games. Kind of just a bunch of random stuff that you can do, such as playing poker, doing a drive-by. You can streak and flash people.
Zombie Uprising.
Zombie Uprising, which you can play just a TV in a crib. You can mug people, take hostages, rob a store, all the usual cool stuff. And yeah, those build up respect. And like I said, you need to do that mission. So like there are obviously way more activities than respect you need to get through the story. especially because like the stunts themselves, since they're things you just get respect while driving and fighting, which is obviously stuff you do a lot in this game. It certainly is like you don't have to do every single activity, every single diversion to be able to get through the story, you know? Which once again is a good thing because it would make it like, you know, just more tedious than anything, and you definitely don't want to do that.
No, absolutely. Getting through the story is not a struggle. Like earning respect in this game is not something that is difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I should definitely say that before freaking someone out. Anyway, so next, multiplayer. So you know, Saints Row 2 has various multiplayer components implemented throughout the game. You can like do system linking, or you can do online, and basically you can progress through the game with a cooperative partner, which is something that is in Saints Row 3. It's in Saints Row 4. You know, it's definitely a Saints Row staple. Kind of like the like other game I feel like that pops in my head thinking about co-op like this is like Far Cry 4 or Far Cry 5, where it's just like someone hops in your world. Uh, while you're in co-op mode, both players can explore the city, progress through the game's storyline and mini games, and both players are rewarded and credited for completion of activities, which is something that is cool because not a lot of games do that.
I feel like I don't understand why games don't do that. Like that's such a stupid thing.
I feel like potentially it's more difficult to do, and it's like not necessarily I'm going to say a lazy thing, but it's something that's like
Could be
uh,
like cost effective.
yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know. You know, I have absolutely no idea what goes into making that decision. Yeah, so it's very much like a drop in, drop out thing. Um, there is no limit to how far the players can be away from each other, so like you're not limited by that or anything. And you can there also is competitive multiplayer modes between 4 and 12 players in a match. There are two standard death match modes: free for all gangsta brawl and team based team gangsta brawl. Uh, Obviously, you know, just team death matches. There's also a game known as Strong Arm, which puts two teams against each other, fighting for control over a neighborhood. And the first team to earn $100 million wins, and money is earned by competing head to head in activities, controlling tag spots. So basically, like King of the Hill, it's a King of the Hill mode.
Right.
Yep. And then in multiplayer, obviously, you can rank up, uh, display earning various badges, which are displayed next to the player's name, and also they can unlock more expensive clothing for their multiplayer character. So kind of like yeah, I mean it's like a more simplified version of like current GTA Online, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I don't remember playing much of the online.
We did not play it at all. It was I don't know, it was just I like yeah, I don't know, it was just an older game. We didn't play online back in the day.
That's
You know,
fair.
we were too young. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much everything you can do in Saints Row. Uh, so now we're going to move on to the notable achievements. So this game came out in 2008, which is crazy because it never feels like it's that old to me. Like whenever I think of Saints Row 2, I think like 2011, but no, it's an old game. But being in 2008, it actually does not have trophies. There are only achievements for this one, Noah.
What? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, there are no trophies in Saints Row, which I guess anyone who would want to play the Xbox version, it is impossible to complete because there are a whole host of online trophies and their servers are down. But there are two notable achievements I thought looking through the achievement list. One is Hello 47 for killing all the Hitman targets, obviously a reference to the Hitman series, Agent 47.
Obviously,
Yeah. Yeah, I love when games reference other games.
it is classy.
Yeah. And then there's Still Addicted to The Row. Spend a lot of time in Stillwater. This achievement is unlocked for playing the game for 50 hours.
Wow, that is a lot of time in Stillwater.
Yeah,
But
I
I
def
definitely
we've
probably
definitely
did
spent
more than
over
that.
50. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we have definitely played this game for far more than 50 hours. No, it's just I don't this is an achievement that I don't like in games, but I think like obviously like playing Saints Row 2, I wouldn't mind it because I definitely did that. And obviously it's something you can like cheese. But this is also an achievement that is typically common in Saints Row games. Like I know Saints Row 4 has one where you have to play for 40 hours.
I'm okay
Actually,
with it as long as it's earned in your normal game time,
Yeah. Yeah, like if it's something like that you get naturally going for completion, which in Saints Row you would, then yes. But if it's something that you have to, like, say you get literally every other achievement and you still got 10 hours before you get this one, that's when I think they're a little excessive. But yeah, I actually don't remember. I think I did. It Saints Row 4. I don't know if there's one for playing for 40 hours, but I know there's one that's playing like you have to play like 10 hours as both a male and a female character or something like that. Yeah, but yeah.
Weird. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. Also, Easter eggs. We don't really talk about Easter eggs much anymore.
A lot
I
of
just
games don't really have a lot of Easter eggs anymore.
Yeah, I also just feel like it's kind of boring to just hear someone talk about Easter eggs. It's like if there are Easter eggs in a game, like I would just look it up rather than hear someone talk about it. But this one, I did feel like
You're
it.
debating our whole system here.
Yeah, this I just thought this was funny to mention just because it was like reading through. Saw this. But this is actually one that I think we did. This is one of our first experiences with actually getting an Easter egg in a game because we looked it up and did it and stuff. But the Pop Out Easter Bunny, which is actually the XboxAchievements.com 2008 Easter egg of the year, which is, I just read that fact and just thought it
What the
was
hell
the
does that even
funniest. Well, like XboxAchievements.com every year, I don't know if they still do it, would put the top 5 Easter eggs of the year. And this was number 1 in 2008.
And what was this one?
So the Pop Out Easter Bunny, basically, you have to like, I believe it's on the far west. You just find a random island that is not marked on the map, which there are a lot of random islands not marked on the map, that has like this little like staircase up to this little platform, and on this platform is an arrow. And the arrow is pointing to another random island that you have to find. And on that random island is another arrow pointing to another random island you have to find. And I think once you do this 5 times, you end up in the water where there are 2 arrows kind of pointing out in a direction. You look in that direction, and this little bunny looking thing just rises up from the water and then goes back down like Nessie.
And that's it?
And that's it.
And we did that?
Oh yeah, we did.
That sounds like a waste of time. Don't go watch that. Hearing about it here is enough.
No, it was, but yeah, we did it. And it was just funny because it's like I definitely feel like that's probably one of the more famous Easter eggs. Especially like if you talk to people around that, would definitely played games around that time. I feel like that's one that kind of sticks with you. Because the second I read like Pop Out Easter Bunny, I was like, oh, I know exactly what Easter egg it's talking about. Yeah. Yeah, that's just that little Easter egg. So now let's move on to our questions, Noah. Favorite moments.
My favorite moment is probably when Gat is nearly killed in this game. It happens in every Saints Row. I think somehow in every Saints Row, Gat comes back and is killed and comes back. It's like on this really weird, confusing cycle, especially because of where the story goes. But, like I said, Gat is just he is synonymous with Saints Row. He is my favorite character, and I love every time he's just viciously murdered.
My favorite, once again, dealing with like the Brotherhood, like I said, Carlos and Jessica's deaths. I remember like the Carlos death, that just sucked. Like he's literally being dragged by a truck and you have to like kill the people driving the truck to stop it and stuff. And the boss tries to like get him unhooked from the truck and stuff and then just ends up shooting him. And it's really sad. And then just for revenge with Jessica, just locking her in the trunk of her own car, taking
That
it
was the
to
part that freaked me out.
I was to say, like, you take it to a monster truck rally and Marrow kills her himself. It's like, and then like you get out of he gets out of the monster truck and somehow you're just standing there in the dirt, slow clapping. And he's just like, man, I'm going to kill you right here, right now. And you just go, no, you're not. And you throw the keys at him and he realizes it. And it's like such a cool moment.
It's horrifying.
It's awesome. Favorite boss?
I'm gonna change this to favorite gang for me in general.
That's fair.
And just talk about the Ronins. I just loved all their interactions with the Saints. I felt like they were the most threatening out of the 3 gangs in the game.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. My favorite it's just going back to boss battle. Well, favorite game, obviously the Brotherhood, but Marrow, his boss battle was awesome because like well, you have I guess the initial part of it, where you just fight him like at his thing, and you guys end up on the roof and you're just fighting each other, and then you end up like crashing through into his tattoo studio, and he ends up escaping, and then you could chase him down to like the monster truck arena, and literally it's like him and a bunch of dudes in trucks, and you're just a dude with an RPG, and you just have to blow up all their trucks. And it was just such a cool fight.
Saints Row does create epic moments in their final boss battles.
Yeah. What you didn't like about the game?
Huh, that's a tough one. That it wasn't remastered.
A lot of people actually have very similar complaints.
I would definitely play Saints Row 2 remastered.
Oh, I would 100% play Saints Row 2 Remastered. Um, I think the gun combat was a little unpolished. Like
It was a
you
long
can't.
time ago, and third person gunplay hasn't gotten a lot better. Like GTA is pretty awful.
No, I think it's fine. Bit like I mean, the big thing is like you can't really get behind. Like there's no like if I can remember correctly, there's no like cover button. Like there's no getting behind cover. You do just kind of have to run out in the open and shoot people, which can make it very easy for you to die. Um,
That is pretty weak. You do
like
need
I
a
know,
cover button.
yeah, like I know we definitely had to use the invincibility cheats on like a few of the later missions in this game just because they can get so hard with like stuff like that. Um, and then replayability. Hi, we played it a lot. I played it a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, we would both play it again.
Um, yeah. So then DLC. So this game, as I discovered yesterday when I was doing the research for it, has two story-based DLC packs. Ultor Exposed, where you're helping the scientist that used to work, well, that I think still technically does work for Ultor, just like expose some shady business practices, whatever, try to ruin their business. And then Corporate Warfare, which basically, because of you killing Dane Vogel, there's kind of like infighting in the company of who's going to take over, and you use that opportunity to try just take Ultor down once and for all. And then there's the Uncut pack, which is just additional customization stuff, nothing big there.
Wow, I never knew there was DLC.
Yeah, I didn't. I found out when I was looking up achievements because they listed achievements for the DLC, and I was like, "Oh man, I didn't even know that was a thing." Um, but yeah, obviously, we didn't know they existed. Not really much we can say about them. So no, let's talk about final review.
I mean, Saints Row 2 to me is still, it's probably tied for the best because I really like Saints Row 4 as well. But I think it's one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, I would say it probably is my favorite Saints Row game, above Saints Row 4 even, and it's just like a really solid game for being like 2008 sandbox game. Really, really good. It's certainly like I never played GTA 4's story, so I can't comment, but I just remember never really having a high thought on the story. Like anytime I had seen anything from it, like I know, like eventually after we had played Saints Row 2, like we had played a tiny bit of GTA 4's story, and I just was not into it. But this story, it instantly hooked me, and I was along for every moment, and I was excited for every moment. It was really well done.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have to talk about Saints Row 2. So now let's move on to the indie bit, the bit where we talk about indie games.
Yay!
So today we are talking about Inside. Basically, inside story of you play as this boy who is trying to escape from this super
Boy.
controlling, super controlling mega company, kind of like really like 1984 vibes is kind of what I get from it. And basically the gameplay. This is a game made by Playdead, makers of Limbo. Basically, it's a like 2.5D platformer puzzle game. So you just go along, kind of solving puzzles, platforming challenges throughout. And yeah, that's as simply as I can put it. What Inside is. Noah, did you like this game?
I did like this game. I did like this game. I mean, it was very brief, first of all. It takes less than 4 hours to complete, and the quote unquote story is very interesting. Yeah, I say story loosely because there's not much story here. It's mostly a lot of visuals and it's environmental storytelling, and basically what happens is the boy goes into a tank and becomes part of an amorphous blob and escapes the tank and lives happily on the coast?
Well, I think it died.
No.
Like I think it
It's
rolled out there and it
alive.
was
No,
dead.
no, I looked it up and it definitely said it was sunbathing and enjoying its freedom.
I don't
It
believe you.
was alive.
It's like I don't think you'd have any reason to lie to me, but I still can't find myself believing what you're telling me is the truth.
It's alive.
No, I mean it definitely like I absolutely love the game. I thought the gameplay was very solid. The puzzles were very like I felt like the puzzles were easier than Limbo. Because Limbo, I like I know when I played through Limbo initially, some of those later puzzles and stuff, I like had to use a guide because I just could not figure them out. But inside, I was able to get through entirely. Like maybe struggling here or there, but I was able to figure everything out after not too much. Like I never got frustrated with any of the puzzles. It was never like, oh my god, like I've been stuck here for so long and I still don't know what I have to do. What am I supposed to do? It was definitely uh a lot faster to kind of figure out. I thought the game itself looked very, very nice. And like it
It was definitely beautifully horrifying.
yeah, like it's definitely like I think Playdead are the masters of ambiance and environmental storytelling. And this game really holds that up. They really managed to like, I think outdo and one up Limbo, which is a very hard thing to do anyway because of how good Limbo was.
That's
Like I
true.
think
They captured the same vibe while still feeling unique.
yeah, like I definitely think this game proved that like they weren't going to be like a one and done studio with Limbo because of how good Limbo was. It's certainly I feel like up the ante, and assuming that they're still working on another game, I can't wait to see what they do next.
Amen.
Yeah. Um,
Oh shit. You know what I just remembered?
you have to pick an indie game.
I have to pick a game.
All right, Noah, what's the next indie bit going to be about?
The next indie big game is going to be Stick It to the Man,
Ah,
which
that's
I think is one of both of our personal favorites.
yeah, that was I think one of the first like one of the very first PlayStation Plus free games for the PlayStation 4. Like I think like that and what was that other game? Contrast were the first two PS Plus free games for the PS4.
Are you sure it wasn't Resogun?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
Anywho,
I mean they
Stick It
were
to the
like
Man.
yeah, cool.
People
Yeah,
talk
no,
about it, but
I
it's
will
definitely one of my favorite
I'm def
indie games I've ever
yeah.
played.
All right. Cool. So don't forget, new episodes every other Monday. Rate and subscribe. Tell us if you like our show or tell us if you don't and tell us why. Tell your friends and enemies about the podcast. And you can follow our Instagram, the Super Gamer Bros, for updates on episodes. And yeah, we'll see you guys next game.
Bye.